Tabarak.
Tabarak Ballal.
Yes, construction engineering and management.
Okay.
Yes.
Did a specific experience or insight alter your view on diversity in the built environment?
Yes, indeed. Maybe I should put this into context first of all. So I studied civil engineering back home at the University of Khartoum in Sudan. I was one of 5 female students within a class of 100. So absolutely minority. And when I came across here to the UK, being a developed country, you hear a lot about freedom. My expectation was that I was going to find so many females working in the industry, whether civil engineers or construction managers or architects and so on. I was absolutely taken aback when I applied for my position as a lecturer at the University of Reading to realize that I was the first female to be employed within the Department of Construction Management and Engineering within what I would describe a sea of white male colleagues within the department. That was an absolute eye-opener for me. This was about 26 years ago. We've come a long way since then. The industry has changed enormously. But I still work now at the University of Reading, still within the same department, now called the School of the Built Environment. Female representation is almost 50%, although that doesn't represent actually the industry at all. Recent research shows that the number of females represent about 20% of the workforce in an industry that employs 3.1 million people. Even worse, BAME, so ethnic minorities, of all diversities within the ethnic minority group, represent only 6% of the workforce in the construction industry. There is a long way to go, but I think the industry is moving in the right direction. We're seeing more and more construction firms, professional bodies, and so on, taking equity, diversity, and inclusivity incredibly seriously. So I think there is a future. The future is bright, but definitely when I first started at the university, that was an absolute key moment that I felt, what am I doing here?
What is one piece of advice you would give to aspiring engineers, surveyors, and construction professionals from underrepresented backgrounds?
First of all, be ambitious. I think that is one critical piece of advice. But that ambition has to be demonstrated through hard work, through the love of learning, but also through resilience. I think as ethnic minorities, people of color, females working in a white male-dominated industry, I think personally, I learned very quickly that I needed to develop a really thick skin. I would say that resilience is quite important, being ambitious and never give up, working hard, not to prove yourself, but actually to develop as a person and reach your own potential, and just try to break down any barriers you find along the way and keep focused. I mean, this is not just one, but a number of different pieces of advice. But from my own experience, I started as a young academic, as a lecturer, and I progressed in my career over the past 26 years to becoming a full professor within the School of the Built Environment at the University of Reading. And I did that through continuous development, continuous learning, being very motivated. I have passion for education, being at the forefront of research in construction and surveying. And so being, ambitious and resilience is quite critical.
How can AI truly drive social value in construction, and what are the risks of relying on it too much?
Social value has been around for the past decade or so as a concept since the Social Value Act was introduced as a law in the UK. And since then, quite a number of different approaches and definitions of social value have come about, particularly across different disciplines within the built environment. I think social value, at the moment I'm working on a research project looking into social value in design specifically with an architectural practice in London. And we are trying to understand how social value can be created through design. So the next step would be how to represent social value using artificial intelligence. So developments such as digital technologies, virtual reality, building information modeling, digital twins of buildings offer really fantastic opportunities to explore how social value could be visualized through the use of these different technologies and techniques. Some of the risks involved, one of the things often that come up that is artificial intelligence going to replace human beings.
Yeah.
There is no risk of that. I don't think there is any risk of that, because in order to develop any artificial intelligence applications, you need people behind the system to develop it. I don't see much risk. I think if artificial intelligence is more viewed as decision support systems to enable, facilitate, and support built environment professionals, I guess that risk gets kind of removed.
How have your 27 years in construction influenced others and contributed to shifting industry culture?
This is a really interesting question. Maybe I could start with an example, a real example. So about 4 years ago, just after the pandemic actually, we had a new intake, and in the third week of me teaching the first year students, there was an African girl, a Muslim African girl wearing her hijab, sat in the lecture theatre, and I immediately walked up to her because this was third week of teaching and I had not seen her before in previous sessions. So I said to her, "Are you sure you're in the right place? I haven't seen you before." And she looked at me and she said, "This is construction technology, right?" I said, "Yes, this is construction technology." She said, yes, I am in the right place. I have just recently enrolled. A year later, when she moved the second year, and I always take the time and opportunity to chat to my students. That's something I always do, try to relate to them. So she said to me, actually, when she joined the university, she joined in the School of Pharmacy.
Oh, wow.
And she spent the first week and the second week in pharmacy, and she did not like it. But one of her sessions was in the building that our offices are in. And in that building next to the entrance, there is a huge board with the photos of everybody who works within the School of the Built Environment. So she said she just looked at the photos, she saw me looking exactly like her amongst a sea of white faces, and she said, "Construction management? Maybe that's what's going to excite me." And she came and joined my session. She loved it, and she continued and graduated as a construction manager, and she's now working in the industry on a construction site in London.
That's amazing story.
The last, almost, the best part of 30 years, I've been in education, teaching, first of all as a teaching assistant at Loughborough University, and then as a lecturer at the University of Reading. And I have educated generations, young students who have then become graduates, some of them are now leading industries all over the world, not just in the UK, because we have a lot of international students who come as well. They keep in touch. Some of them actually make the point of how much positive impact I have made to their learning, to their education, to their careers. And in fact, only yesterday I received an email from a student who graduated last year saying that he was going to come back to the school to visit the university, but he wanted to make sure that when he comes is on a day when I'm there so that he can come and greet me in my office.